Irish domestic violence victim faces jail in Dubai for attempting, well, for the sake of YouTube, I will say self deletion. In a harrowing ordeal that captured international attention, 28-year-old Irish woman Tori Towey has finally arrived home after being detained in Dubai for attempting self deletion following an alleged domestic violence incident. Towie faced charges of alcohol consumption and attempted self deletion, with her passport destroyed after reportedly being attacked by her husband. The case prompted intervention from Ireland's highest levels of government, including Prime Minister Simon Harris, who described her treatment as utterly unacceptable. Sinn Féin leader Mary Lou McDonald brought the case to national attention, emphasizing that no woman should be treated this way. After intense diplomatic efforts and support from human rights organizations, Towie was allowed to leave Dubai on July 11th. Upon her return to Ireland, a relieved Towie expressed her gratitude, stating, "I'm just so relieved, I can't believe it." This case has shed light on the complexities of the legal system in the UAE and the challenges faced by domestic victims of domestic violence abroad, while also highlighting the power of international pressure and diplomatic intervention in resolving such situations. So let's give like an overview of what happened here. So Tori Towey is worked for the Emirate Airlines, and she was living in Dubai, and she had a husband who was from South Africa, apparently. And at some point, she started the marriage became abusive. And after being severely beaten by her husband on one occasion, she attempted suicide. And what happened was that she woke up essentially in jail, from what I've heard. And she was going to be charged as a crime of attempting suicide, and she was not allowed to leave the country. And this was obviously very, very scary because the Emirati prisons are not known for being very nice places. And this case highlighted like these really severe issues where one, attempting suicide is considered a crime, and two, she was being charged with alcohol consumption. Now, this might confuse some people because some people may be aware that foreigners are actually allowed to drink in the UAE. They're allowed to have alcohol in the UAE, but you're only allowed to do it. My understanding is if you have like a permit, basically, or you're supposed to do it in very specific areas. But this this issue of foreigners being detained in Dubai is so bad that there is literally this case made me discover a legal firm created exclusively to help foreigners who are being trapped in Dubai by the authorities. And so one of their head lawyers was talking about like, okay, so people have this false idea that, it's just okay for foreigners to drink in Dubai. And there are very specific conditions in which foreign non-Muslims are allowed to drink in Dubai. But the problem is that if you are in public with any level of alcohol in your blood that can be measured, and the authorities detain you for anything, and they catch you with any amount of alcohol in your blood, then they're going to charge you with a crime, and they're going to charge you with like public intoxication because these kinds of things are not supposed to be public. Maybe you weren't even, heavily intoxicated. Maybe you just had some in your bloodstream for having like, I don't know, maybe one drink earlier, but you're not, belligerent. If any of the locals, this the head of this law firm was talking about, have any reason to have a problem with you, and they call the authorities on you, and the authorities detect alcohol in your bloodstream, you're going to be charged with a crime, and you can be detained, and you can have your passport taken away from you, and you can get stuck there. So what happened to Tori is that in response to her being severely abused by her husband, or at least allegedly, and her attempting to take her own life, which is something that can happen to many victims of abuse. She was charged with a crime for merely that attempt on her own life, and then also any alcohol that happened to be in her bloodstream at the time. And she was stuck there. And so it wasn't until this issue was raised in the lower house of the Irish Parliament that it suddenly caught national attention. This was a huge story in Ireland. And once the prime minister stepped in and got involved, she was on a plane back home to Ireland within a few days.
How dare they do this to a citizen of another country? Like, isn't this is you have no right over them to treat them like this. This is not your citizen. Like,
Well,
what you
in what
cannot.
sense? They're within their domicile.
Yeah, but there are minimum rules that you have to abide by, set by international law, especially if people are not citizens of your country. I mean, okay, so you're saying they cannot take their passport away. That is removing their freedom of mobility. That is removing someone's access to their own country. You shouldn't be able to take someone's passport away. And also,
Well, I
how is
mean,
this
it
making
happens
how
happens all the time. I mean, it happened to our friend Zara K, but I mean, that was in
Yeah, that's insane.
Tanzania. So,
I know it happens. I'm just saying it's insane.
yeah.
Okay. But also, can somebody explain to me how is criminalizing self-deletion, like, what is that? I mean, the person is already, usually when we punish people for crimes is because we think it has a deterring impact on them. But if somebody is giving up on life, what deterring, how is like punishing them is going to be a deterrence? I don't understand that. Aren't you just going to make them more depressed and more upset and more uh you know tired of this life and more likely, because if somebody steals, they probably don't want to die. They probably don't want to go to prison. So if somebody steals and you put them to prison, they're like, okay, maybe I should stop doing this if I don't want to go to prison. If somebody has given up on life, how is making their life more miserable is going to solve the problem? It doesn't
Yeah.
have the same deterring you know effect on them. I don't know. I think like maybe I mean, I to be fair, I'm not a mental health expert. I don't know what I'm talking about. It just seems ridiculous for me to criminalize self-deletion. I think the solution should be something else. Maybe the solution is something else. I don't
Yeah,
know.
so
Is
it
anybody mental?
really it doesn't exactly. It doesn't make sense to me. I mean, I'm assuming that this has its roots in Sharia. Um but with the UAE, it used to be actually like a crime that you could do time for, and now I believe they've lessened it to the extent that you have to pay a fine. But it's still something that you can be charged with. And it never made sense to me. It never made sense to me. Like Vincent van Gogh was put in a French prison, I think, because of his attempted self-deletion. And I'm like, how does that why would that be against the law? It doesn't make sense to me. Isn't it like essentially
You
victimless
know
except
why?
yourself? Like it doesn't make sense to me.
I understand it now, okay? Because we are liberals. By the way, guys, we forgot to read the super chats from the previous show. I will read it after this one. Sorry about that. Okay, but I understand it now. I understand it. See, this is our liberal mindset. We're just thinking in our own liberal box, looking at things because we are naive enough to think punishment, as liberals, we think punishment is not for the sake of punishment. We liberals think that punishment is for the sake of the betterment of society. We don't punish people
Ah,
because we want them to be punished. We punish them so that that crime gets reduced because society will be better off with less of that crime. We don't understand that in an Islamic mindset, you punish to punish. The punishment is for its own sake. That's what we don't understand.
yeah.
I got it.
It
Yes.
um so basically this I think part and to be clear, I've read many reports on this scenario and I am actually not entirely sure who destroyed her passport. There's some reports that seem to intimate that it is the authorities that took her passport away from her. And there's other sources that seem to imply that it is her husband that destroyed her passport. So I just want to clarify that that specific aspect is not entirely clear. Um, but regardless, I think this is a scenario where the UAE has been going through a long process of trying to rehabilitate its image, and it's now become this place where a lot of people go on vacation. It's seen as like ultra luxurious. A lot of people want to move there because it seems so luxurious and futuristic and modern, and they're starting to open things up a little bit more so it can be more appealing and more fun to foreigners. Um, but at the end of the day, you're really still at the mercy of the government within the UAE. And when I started to go down this rabbit hole, just looking at all of the cases of these foreigners who get detained on these little technicalities in the law, under things that on a global scale the emirate is using to make it more appealing to the foreigners, especially this issue of alcohol. Oh yeah, you can have alcohol, it's fine, blah blah blah. But if you're caught in public with any amount of it in your bloodstream, then that's a crime they're going to charge you with. But whether or not you're actually intoxicated, you know what I mean? Like those little details are causing a huge amount of distress and pain for people.
And you could still get out in trouble if you have sex, as like if you have sex with your girlfriend that you're traveling with because she's not your wife. You could get in trouble for that. And I mean, recently there was a chef that said something, that was considered anti-Islamic, and he got in a crap ton of trouble for that in the UAE. Guys, if you're looking for somewhere futuristic that seems like it's from the future or stuff, right? Don't go to Dubai. Go to go to Tokyo. Okay, Tokyo is safer. There's no laws. They're not going to go hunt you down for weird stuff. You don't have to worry about things. And also, their currency is dropping like a rock right now. So it's a good time to visit Tokyo. Everything is cheap there, right? But if you're looking for somewhere futuristic and nice and safe, go to places where it has less of Islam. Less Islam. Less Islam means safer,
Well, I mean,
usually.
also, to be clear, the
Always.
Japanese authorities are no one to mess with, especially when it comes to being a foreigner. I would
Yes, but they have relatively, obviously, uh, every country has its
yeah,
own
it's better.
problems. And I know, yeah, I know I've seen some issues with Japanese law and the way they enforce it. I've seen that. Yeah, I know what you're referring to, but I'm just saying relative to other places, relative to other
Mhm.
places. I mean, I've
Mhm.
been to Tokyo. To be fair to Japanese people, they're very, very nice to foreigners. I know there are examples of, bad experiences, but on average, I mean, they were very, very welcoming and nice, right?
Yeah.
Anyway.
I also wanted to just share let me find it one second. Friend of the show, Nuria Khan, also known as the Holy Humanist, gave an interview to an Irish news channel about this case and
Oh,
about
wow.
her experience in the UAE, and basically how she was almost kidnapped and stuck in UAE when trying to escape her abusive marriage. And so wait, I just wanted to share that in live chat because I thought it was so good. One second. Um and one thing that I think is important to consider is that there really is a two-tiered system, and what the laws that are applied to Muslims are very different than the laws applied to non-Muslim foreigners, and that creates its whole other set of issues, especially in regards to the status of women, as is very obvious in Nuria's video. So let me post her interview in the live chat. It's like a quick little interview, and I think people would really enjoy it.
Okay, I'm gonna bring up the super chats from previous story. Guys, sorry,
Yeah.
We don't usually forget to do the super chats between the shows, but now we will do it, especially because Angel wasn't at the beginning of the show, but she was there for the first. I don't know if she's still here, but yeah. Do you want to do the super chats while I bring up the next news?
Yes. Okay. Yeah, we just got too sucked into the stories.
Yes.
uh Call of Ghidorah gave us 65 Swedish krona. Thank you. Saying, hey guys, what is your opinion on all the things Destiny said in regard to the assassination attempts on Trump? Okay, I haven't been following this very
I have.
closely. I have I know the basic rundown. For those who are unaware, Destiny is a very, very large political streamer. Um, Definitely like uh, a good liberal. I would say a very principled liberal in many, many cases, and that's one of the things I really like about him. What he said in regards to the assassination on Trump when it first happened is that he had like mixed feelings exact or something. That was like the tweet that he sent out. And then that got a lot of backlash. And then he doubled down and then essentially made fun of the man Corey, I forget his last name, who was killed in this attack. And then that caused its own backlash. Um my personal opinion is that it was just a little bit of like a personal flame out. And you know what? It's not great, and I think s it sucks in the sense that Destiny was doing a really good job of being taken very seriously by a lot of bigger platforms, and I really liked seeing someone who I thought was very good at defending liberalism, um, for a younger generation being given bigger platforms, and I think this is gonna really damage that, and I think that's one of the things that's most disappointing to me in this. I think he reached a personal point of being so freaking dead tired of the bullshit that conservatives pull and their hypocrisies that he just had a little bit of a like a flame out, I would say, and then there's going to be consequences to that. Um, but like I said, I haven't been following this drama in detail. Armin, do you have things you want to comment on?
Yeah, it was so shameful making fun of somebody who died. Um, such a great person it seems as well. The Corey, somebody who died protecting his family, laughing at him and saying fuck him, and that was insane. That was insane. I mean, I understand, but it's not an excuse. I understand that Destiny does too many debates, and when you do too many debates, when you get exposed to the insanity of the people who disagree with you on whatever side they are, you end up hating them, and then the bad experiences that you have with the members of that tribe, you're no matter how smart, because Dustin is a smart guy, but the human brain has some weaknesses, and even somebody as smart as Destiny, once you get so angry with a group, with members of a group, you're going to start associating your hate with that entire group, with the entire community. So if you notice, Destiny is talking so aggressively against all conservatives because of his bad experience with some conservatives. He's generalizing and considering them, dismissing all of them, and hating them with passion. And this might be the product of you just doing so many debates. But again, I understand that, but it's no excuse. There's this is embarrassing. Making fun of a victim of somebody that was died protecting his own family because you ideologically disagree with them. Let's say he was wrong. Maybe like, okay, he's a conservative. Let's say that he is wrong. Let's say he's insane. Let's say he has the worst views. You have worse views than him. And he's constantly in his defending his position. He's constantly doing whataboutism. And he's not even doing even his what it, there's first of all, he's doing whataboutism. He's saying the conservatives, well, the conservatives don't condemn January 6th. The conservatives this, the conservatives
Yeah,
have
you're
language that
right.
is, this is constant whataboutism. First of all, it's not all conservatives, but even if it was all conservatives, you are just excusing your horrible behavior for pointing other people's horrible behavior. This is a classic logical fallacy for somebody who does this many debates. How could you not know? And when people point out to him that this is whataboutery, he doesn't explain why it's not whataboutery. He's not. He says it's not. They are doing this. You don't understand that it's being true doesn't make it not whataboutery. It could, what you're saying could be true. The fact that the other people have done, the other side has used language that promotes violence or has some insane view, is, if it's true, pointing it out does not make your argument not whataboutery. You cannot have say something that is even worse than many of what the other side is saying and excuse it because they do the same thing. How does that make any sense? And he was constantly asked if he condemns the attempted assassination of Trump, and he did not condemn it. This just reminds me of all the people who we ask him, do they condemn Hamas, and they do not. Why can't you? Why would it be so difficult for him? Why would it to just condemn the attempted assassination on Trump and be like, okay, I condemn it. This is obviously a tragedy. Obviously, I do not, but I do want to focus on what the other side is saying. It's completely understandable if you don't want to focus on this assassination attempt because you have another agenda. But just condemn it and say you don't agree with it, and then focus on whatever you want to focus on. You want to focus on conservatives being insane. You want to focus on conservatives using language that also promotes violence. You want to focus on conservatives, looking at January 6th and thinking that it was justified. Focus on that. That's fine. Just do the minimum of condemning the attack and then move on to whatever the hell you want to move on, instead of making fun of a civilian who died protecting his family and swearing at him. What's wrong with you? Like, what the hell's wrong with you? I don't understand. It's such a this is, I know people make mistakes, and we shouldn't judge like if somebody has a good record of making such amazing arguments, and if they make it somewhere a mistake, we shouldn't just judge them entirely based on that mistake. But you have to accept it was a mistake for us to be able to do that. You have to come out and be like, this is wrong. And also, the fact is that this is going to be used against you forever. Destiny is such a powerful weapon when it comes to defending liberalism. And now this is going to be always used as his Achilles heel. Always going to be, he's going to be dismissed as a radical. He's going to be dismissed as somebody who promotes violence, who doesn't condemn violence on a presidential candidate. How could you ever have the higher ground when you're arguing it against other people, when that position that you hold could always be used against you? It's such a shame. It's such a shame.
Yeah.
Such a loss. Yeah.
Waffling on the issue of political violence, especially in a setting like this, it's just like in the inability or unwillingness to just make a clear-throated condemnation, it's given me Hasanabi vibes. It's not that is not becoming. Um yeah, as a
I mean,
side note,
I mean, yeah, go on,
sorry.
and then I will say this.
The video of his son shooting him with an airsoft gun is so funny.
Yeah.
That's besides the point. Um yeah, you were about to say.
The main framework for people who are supporting liberal values is stability and the rule of law, okay, and also protecting people's right to express themselves, whatever they're saying, no matter how wrong it is. These are the core foundations of liberal values. How could you be a warrior on the liberal side if you are saying people are worthy of dying because they have insane views? This is the very opposite of everything liberalism stands for. So both by acting like that person is deserving of ridicule, and the person who died, that shows we what happened to we will protect. I will protect your right to say whatever you disagree at, whatever to the point of death, even if I disagree with whatever you're saying. What happened to these are liberal stances? Now you're saying somebody is worthy of dying because he has some insane views. So that is very illiberal. And also on this other side, when the rule of law is being challenged, that is the most sensitive thing to a liberal. A liberal has, whenever the rule of law is being challenged, if there's anything holy to a liberal, it's the rule of law. This is why, by the way, this is why a lot of progressives call liberals fascists, because
Yeah.
their respect for the rule of law. And you are violating the rule of law in such a way, in such an insane way. It's an act of terror, and you cannot condemn that. The liberals should be at the front of the line to condemn such an act. Anyways.
Yeah. Yep. So let's go to the other super chats. Rusty Sawblade is saying, keep educating people. Sorry, I can't give more. First of all, thank you so much for supporting the Atheist Republic. Thank you to everyone who is supporting Atheist Republic, because you enable us to keep doing what we're doing. This team is much larger than just me and Armin. We have a lot of people that work with us to make everything possible behind the scenes. And never apologize for not giving more, because we also say you should always be taking care of yourself and your own finances first. Okay? We hope everyone is working towards financial freedom. So if you are not able to support Atheist Republic monetarily, you can always support us by telling people about us, which is one of the best ways to promote the show. Liking, commenting, sharing, feeding the algorithm. You know, we give our penance to the YouTube algorithm gods. Okay,
Yes.
that's how you can
Thank you
support us.
for. I want to thank you for not giving more. Okay. So thank you for giving, but also more importantly, thank you for limiting your donation, because you're being responsible person with your finances. So good job. I'm proud of you.
Um, Angel. Oh my gosh, Angel. She did it again. With the $100 super chat, saying, so glad I can make it. I am at Motorcycle Basic Riders, so I won't be able to stay for the stream. I hope everyone is enjoying their day and the stream. And don't forget
No.
to like the stream and comment after. Angel donates this much money just to tell people to feed the algorithm. I love it.
Right,
Um,
right, right.
Also,
Yes.
I don't
But
know what this event this is. It sounds fun because I want to learn how to ride a motorcycle.
yes,
This is a
yes.
goal
By
of
the way,
mine.
guys, when we say be responsible, is Angel couldn't afford this. Okay, so the reason why we're celebrating Angel donating to us. Don't do what Angel is doing. Angel can afford being this generous. Okay, so but
Well,
thank you,
I hope she
Angel.
can, presumably.
Yeah. Yes.
And make sure to
Thank you,
talk to your
Angel.
accountant, guys. Okay. Um,
Thank
Gasian American
you.
gave a super chat. Hello, my friend. Saying, do we know if the UAE has private prisons like the US? I don't know that. Let's do a quick Google. Okay, shall we?
Don't do
Does
Google, do Perplexity.
okay have private prisons like the US? Uh no, it does not appear that way.
Okay.
That it does not appear that way. But ask go do your own research. I only did one Google. um Jack Johnson gave a chat. Thank you, Jack, saying, I condemn the attack on Trump. What determines when it is moral to assassinate someone? Was it right to assassinate Soleimani? Would it be wrong to assassinate Putin? Well, I mean, obviously, a Democratic candidate is not one of those moral situations.
I
Um,
wouldn't use the word
Military operations are
assassinate.
different.
I mean, I don't know. Is the word assassinate for Soleimani even the right word? Given that, do you assassinate people who are? I mean, I guess you have assassinated, but yeah. So Soleimani was a terrorist, and he was taking in the middle of planning attacks on the United States. So this is just uh, a country defending itself. Right? So Soleimani was in the middle of planning attacks against the United States and is also supporting terrorism, all from Afghanistan to Lebanon to Iraq. And it's not only it was the right thing to do, but it was a required thing to do. Like you kind of, it's the United States just protecting its citizens. So yeah, so that was. In fact, I argue it's irresponsible not to take out Soleimani. Putin, obviously, that would be something that we would, as liberals, we would be against assassinating Putin because we are, he's a leader of a recognized nation state. So we would, for practical reasons, for consistent practical reasons, we would be against assassination of Putin because we need to have some, as liberals, we have some principles, right? So again, I hate Putin. I'm against him. I hope he loses anything, everything he's doing, and he fails at everything he does. I hope he lives long enough to see that he has failed. But again, assassinating a leader of an official nation state is something that I will not endorse. And again, when it comes to somebody like Adolf Hitler, right? So that's different because there's a point that you have caused so much crime against your people and other countries that you do
Humanity?
not and humanity that see, here's the thing. If the people of a country themselves decide that you are not a reflection, the state is not the reflection of a nation, then if that nation comes up with methods to remove you, the nation itself, because you have provided them with no other way to separate the state from that nation that does not think that you are a reflection of that nation, then in that situation, I would not condemn. Like for example, if Germans were taking positions to assassinate like Hitler,
What about
I would
Khamenei?
not yeah, I would not condemn it. I would not condemn it. If the people of that nation want to remove the state or the leaders of the state from the nation, and you have not provided them with any tools to for that divorce, then in that situation, if that nation tries to use other means to do so, then I am not. I don't think we're in a position to blame the people of that nation.
But how at
Right?
what point
So I'm
can
not.
we decide that the people responsible for that act are representative of the nation
So
and not just
because we
some
don't, that's why we
insurgency?
don't endorse it, but we don't, I'm not saying we should endorse it. I'm just saying we're not in a position to condemn it either. I'm not saying we suggest it. I'm not saying we will advertise for it. I don't, if it happens, I'm not saying we should endorse it, but I don't think we're in a position to condemn it either. That's what I'm saying. I might be wrong, but this is my position right now.
Yeah, I like overthrowing fascists.
Yes.
I like deposing fascists. Yep.
Yes. Yes.
Yep.
By the
And
way,
I
here's another.
particularly like it when the people that are doing it are also themselves liberal and not also just other fascists, particularly
Right.
theocratic Islamist fascists that are just trying to vie
Right.
for their own power. These are key distinctions. Intentions matter.
It might also be the case that we have to judge a case. We cannot come up with a rule right now, right? So it might be like, hey, so what is the rule? There might not be a rule. we might have to judge every case individually. Like nobody right now will say like it was wrong. The people who attempted to assassinate Hitler and they failed. I don't think anybody here will condemn that, right? So, but I don't think that we could come up with like a framework that we could apply. Like, okay, let's use this principle. I think we should just every individual case should be judged individually.
Yeah, by its actors and its consequences.
Right. Perfect. Consequentialists. That's what we are.
We got another super chat from Araxon UK. Thank you for the £10, saying Chechnya is and always been one of the biggest supporters of the state of Israel, and because of Czech military support in 1947, Israel was able to defeat the Arabs. Czechs have the highest percentage of atheists in the EU. Okay, that's a fun fact. Cool.
No, nice.
Kenny,
I like the fact that the country that has the highest number of atheists is also a huge supporter of Israel. I'm not saying they are. There's a causation link between them. I just liked it. I enjoyed it.
speaking of atheists in Europe, that video we did about Albania losing
Ye-
its Islamic majority went like super viral last week.
Yes,
Crazy.
and it was demonetized. We got 100,000 views, so we should have made a good revenue from that, but we didn't because it was demonetized. Over the ad at the end, but not for anything we said in that video. Not for anything we said in that video. Because of the ad at the blasphemous art at the end, which is insane. What the hell? Yeah.
And Kenny gifted 5 Atheist Republic memberships, which is a great reminder. Thank you, Kenny, for being so generous to the rest of our community. A great way to support the show is to join the channel as a member. You get access to members only content. You get access to our emojis. So make sure to use those emojis in the live chat, and you can join hitting the button. Whoop, whoop, this way down here. Yeah, it's fun and a great way to support. And the more people who become members, the more emojis that I can add. So I'm trying to get more members because I want to create more emojis. I have a new one in the works that I think people will really like.
Do you know who makes the most amazing, gorgeous, and other adjectives that I can't use here on YouTube, blasphemous art ever? We do! And for some reason, we are giving it away for free. Download them now using the link in the description before we change our mind.